a week of unrest in Ferguson, Missouri. That's where 18-year-old Michael Brown was shot and killed by a police officer last weekend. On Friday, police released video surveillance of a convenience store robbery showing a young man fitting the description of Brown, stealing cigars and roughing up the clerk. Investigators named Brown the primary suspect in the strong-arm robbery. Friday night, more violence erupted as protesters looted that convenience store and nearby businesses. The images of police in military gear and weaponry firing tear gas at protesters and harassing and arresting members of the media. Just one example of the increasing militarization of police all over the country. In 2011, federal agents accompanied by SWAT teams raided the Gibson Guitar Factory and headquarters in Nashville, threatening and frightening workers and confiscating wood, claiming that it was imported illegally. Criminal charges were threatened, never filed. There are also countless incidences of SWAT teams raiding homes and battering down doors, mistakenly shooting and injuring grandmothers and little kids, even killing pets. Earlier this year, police searching for a drug dealer near Atlanta threw a flash grenade into a home that landed in a toddler's crib. The boy, known locally as Baby Boo Boo, had half his face and chest blown off and spent weeks in a hospital in a medically induced coma. A woman in Evansville, Indiana, has sued the city's police department after its SWAT team smashed through her front door and threw flash grenades in her home just to serve a search warrant 2 years ago. The 11 officers looking for evidence after an anonymous internet post threatened the local police chief found only the 68-year-old woman and her 18-year-old daughter in the house and handcuffed them. And they didn't find any evidence in the search. City lawyers released a helmet cam video of the raid to support their argument that the force was objectively reasonable. Take a listen to the SWAT team's reaction at the end of the raid.
Jeff, I thought you were just going to dive and lay on the floor for it. Well, I know, right? That ram hit a lot harder than I thought it was going to. It just went beep.
It's just glass.
50-pound ram ain't no match for that 10-pound thing of glass. It's been fun if it would have bounced off. Well, that's what I was thinking. You know, sometimes plexiglass.
So you get made fun of if it's 15 hits or 1 hit.
Well, joining me now is Cheryl K. Chumley. She's the author of Police State USA, How Orwell's Nightmare is Becoming Our Reality. Cheryl, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Governor. It's great to be here.
The video that we've just seen, the officers clearly made a raid on a house that turned out not to be substantive. There was no evidence found. I think what's chilling about it is there was such a cavalier attitude. Now, look, I'm a pro-law enforcement guy. I'm a law and order kind of guy. I think we ought to support the police. I think, you know, they do dangerous jobs on our behalf, and I'm behind them 100%. But have we crossed a line in some areas with what's called the militarization of police?
Definitely. And I think all of America is pro-police. I don't think you get anybody of sane mind in America saying that they're anti-police or that they want to take police off the streets. But there's a simple solution. When you kill somebody innocent, when you kill and maim a toddler, when you kill a 26-year-old Marine in Arizona, and then you just go on the next day, business as usual, using the same military-type grade equipment on the civilian streets of America, that's where the line should be drawn, and that's when we should say enough, no more.
Are we using a lot of the whiz-bang stuff because we have it or because we need it?
I would say because we have it. You know, the war on drugs has brought a lot of this equipment straight off the battlefields of Afghanistan and Iraq into civilian police forces for free or for grant dollars through the Department of Homeland Security. Once these law enforcement officials have it, they need to train with it. They need to justify its use. And that's why we're finding so many law enforcement officials nowadays across communities of America using armored vehicles and flashbang grenades to do things like warrants for drug suspects.
You know, when I think about some of the instances we've seen, I mean, the SWAT team going into Gibson Guitar, to me, is one of the most outrageous, because it's not like they're going to swing a guitar at them. So I'm not sure what, you know, full protective gear was necessary to be afraid of getting hit with a guitar string or something. But is there an established protocol that all police agencies follow when to invoke the escalation of authority to that degree?
See, you raise what I see as part of the solution. Police departments are funded at the local level. They're funded through your city council offices, through your boards of supervisors. It would be very easy for Americans across the nation to take time out of their busy schedules and go to these local board meetings and insist that these supervisors, that these city councilors stop funding police to purchase this equipment, to use it, to maintain it. And if they don't want to stop it completely, you can enact guidelines, like you can only use armored vehicles in certain terrorist-type situations.
You know, it's also been disturbing, and especially for me at the federal level, where you have virtually every federal agency that is militarized. The EPA has a SWAT team. Certainly we can understand maybe Homeland Security, but the FAA, I mean, some of these agencies, what do they need a SWAT team for? Isn't that what the FBI is supposed to do, or the Secret Service, or some of these true police agencies at the federal level?
And the Marshal's Office, that's the whole reason behind that. Let's not forget the Library of Congress at one point had weapons and ammunition and so forth. The NOAA, the Weather Service for the federal government. These are certainly alarming questions, and it goes
Maybe they could shoot at clouds or something and make it rain on a hot day.
There you go. This is all part of the larger question that Americans should be asking, not just are our police departments becoming militarized, but are we becoming a police state U.S.A.?
You know, I do think that the situation in Ferguson has sort of opened the wound and caused people to think about it. Nobody is suggesting that police not protect themselves fully. I think the question is, where is the balance? When does it rise to the necessity of being behind such equipment and masks that the public doesn't know who these people are? Are these local people that we know?
Look, police departments used to take an oath to serve and protect, and now what the mindset is, they're serving, protecting themselves. It's officer safety first, and that's more a military mindset. When you serve in the military, you want to protect your buddy next to you from dying, and you go out on search and destroy missions with that in mind. But serve and protect the American public, the taxpayers who are paying your salary. That mindset is long gone, and we need to recapture that.
Cheryl, your book is fascinating, very timely, and I hope people who want to think about this, and I hope a lot of Americans do, will take it up and read it. Delighted to have you here.
Thank you.
Cheryl Tumley.